This episode of the Long Run Podcast is sponsored by Skechers.
Hello, good evening and welcome to The Long Run. It is Friday night and I'm joined by Hayden, Toby and Chris. Good evening, guys. All right? Evening.
Yeah, evening.
So firstly, before we start, huge thank you to our sponsors at Skechers for their continued support. And this week we're going to be talking about how to fuel a marathon, but also, I guess, half marathons and other races, depending on what you're doing. And probably going to talk about a load of other stuff, running related or maybe not. It's been a big week, hasn't it? We are number one on the Great Britain Running Podcast, which is a bit mental, isn't it?
It's crazy. I've got to give a shout out to everybody, right? Seriously, for a second, right? You may have learned by now, 99% of what we talk about is just us mucking about, right? But seriously, for like 1%. Thank you so much, right, for making this the number one running podcast in the UK last week. That's insane. It's just us talking about running. Got to give a shout out to obviously Al, Wilco, everybody else who co-host has been on this journey for however long it is. It's insane. But thank you to every single person who has listened to it, watched it, whatever you've done, or told somebody about it. Because we play no interest in any marketing or trying to spread the word. We rely purely on you guys to do that work for us because we're lazy. And we're just blown away. So genuinely, thanks ever so much. Keep telling people about it. We'll keep rocking up on a Friday and on a Monday now and talking nonsense while you guys want to tune in. So thanks, seriously, thank you to everybody. And I've got to give a shout out to Skechers because they obviously supported the podcast, and we do love Skechers, and I've got to give a mad bit of love to them. And I've got to say, right, and this is not because they sponsor it or not, I couldn't give a monkeys, but their hoodies, I think I might say, their hoodies they do in Skechers, right, I think are the most comfortable hoodies, apart from the ones on the FORDY Run store. Get that in, well, not 40, but they're so comfortable. I don't know, you know when you just get a really soft hoodie and it just feels really nice. I absolutely love my Skechers hoodies, so I've got to give them a shout out. Obviously, the shoes are brilliant, but the hoodies are just amazing. So thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Big love.
And before we go on, please do keep your comments coming. If you're on YouTube, if you're on Facebook, there should be a link in there which you can click on. If you do that, we can actually see your name when you comment, which is super helpful, so we know who we're talking to. And we will get to questions and comments and stuff in a bit. But how are we doing? I feel like the team's falling apart a bit. Oh, go on, Chris. You've got your hand up already. 3 minutes in.
No, I want to play a game.
All right, come on then. Let's have it on.
And I think, but I want to check Hayden's all right first. Hayden, are you okay?
Depends what the game is.
What do you mean? It's a good game. It is a good game. You'll like it.
Yeah, I've heard you'll like it.
It's nothing to do with you being It's nothing to do with you being a part-time stripper, an old singer from a boy band, and being like 72 years old. It's got nothing to do with that. It's so really actually.
Why are you checking in with me first? Why not the other guys?
Well, it's actually aimed at Speako, really.
Right,
this is a game for Speako, but it's for all of us. So, are you ready to start? Now, guys, anybody who's watching or listening to this, I have not told them what they've got to do. Seriously, straight up. Guys, tell them. I came on this at like 59 and I said I've got a game. Be fair?
Yeah.
Fair. Yeah.
And we're all a bit nervous.
Okay, so if you're at home or if you're running, stop your run and do this. By the way, I think you need a Garmin watch. So, guys, all go to on your watch, go to that thing that says like your VO2 max. He said, I've got superior on it because I'm superior, as you'd expect. You got it? And you on it? And then click on it. And it should come up with like your VO2 max. You on that? Everybody doing it at home?
No. I have no idea where it is.
So,
you're going screen already.
Just scroll down. When your screen where it's got like weather and sunrise and all that sort of stuff. And then you see one, it says it's got like a little purple dude and it tells you what your last run was, and it tells you what your VO2 max is. You got that?
No.
Then click on that, and it will tell you what your VO2 max is. Okay, that's not what I'm interested in.
I don't have that.
Scroll
My
down
watch is
again.
out different.
Right, Tobe. All I'm interested is I want you to go to your race predictor. You got that? Do you know how to find that? Admin, have you got your race predictor?
No.
Get it?
I found it.
Come on.
I'm out of the game already.
Well, you need to go and get it. Hayden, you got your race predictor on?
I think so, yeah.
Right, well, you either have it. Right, so currently, right, Tobes will be accurate because he's got his tripod. My 5K prediction is 21:22. My half prediction is 1:42:49. My 10K is 45:32. My marathon's 3:44:37. So, Hayden, what's your current marathon prediction? Because you've got a marathon coming up.
Yeah, it's got to be wrong. It is saying
What is
3
it?
hours, 3 hours and 7 minutes.
That's about
Okay,
right.
so if you, so you're 3:07, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, Tobe, I know you've not got one for a while till Manchester, but what's your
3:39.
3:39? Admin, have you found it?
No, I told you I haven't got a Garmin on.
You're absolutely useless. So mine's saying 3:44:37. So this is now the game. The challenge is if you don't beat your time on your race predictor from this episode, when you do a marathon next, you got to come on here and sing a song. So for the record, Admin, what was Hayden's again?
3:07.
No. It's 3:57.
No, you said 3:07.
No, I heard 3:07. Speak out. What was yours?
39.
3:39. And mine is 3:44:37.
37, right.
Right.
Okay.
Now, I'm not running one until London because I'm not doing Manchester anymore. So it's 3:34. So I've got to run quicker than that in London. Simon, bit of a heads up. Ben, bit of a heads up. Hayden, when have you got a marathon next?
Next Sunday.
Oh, okay. So a lot of pressure on you. Speak out just to clarify. It's Manchester, isn't it? You the next one?
Yeah, that's the one.
Manchester. And you've got to beat what?
4:39.
3:30.
Okay, right. So there you go, guys. You heard it all here first. That's what's going to happen. Now, we wanted to know admin's time, but because I wanted a half time, actually, because I know she's got a half coming up. But let me know. So let us know if you want to join the challenge as well. And you all got to beat your time that's on your Garmin, which sometimes, for some people, is very unrealistic and others is very true. I think that's about right for me at the moment. Now, I've not done, because where I was sick, I've not done any races this year. So I think this is actually a little bit out. We'll see if that changes next week. I mean, these things are wildly inaccurate in general, but I just think it'd be a fun game. So, Hayden, I know you were singing the other week in Lanzarote and whatnot. So it's going to be awesome listening to you sing. And
No confidence,
obviously speak out. When you get to that marathon, Toby, son, we will just have to wait and see in Manchester when you come and sing that song. Okay, right. So, I mean, that was my game. I think it's a good game. Be fair, guys. It's a good game.
Yeah, it was better than I thought.
Oh, they don't like
also, I don't think it's that inaccurate because if we remember Toby in Amsterdam, it was pretty spot on. So
that wasn't Garmin.
Yeah, but
though. That was a Stride.
It's based on Stripod. What's your Stripod saying then, Tobe?
I think it's lower.
Oh, which one's it based on?
Which I think is surprising because I think Garmin's normally rather optimistic. Stripod reckons
306.
Got to go 306.
Stripod reckons 3:31.
3:31.
What? Stripod says what?
3:31.
Adjust it, admin. Adjust it. 3:31.
No, this is Garmin. This isn't anything to do with Stripods.
So are you taking Garmin or Stripod? I'll give you either. I don't mind.
Garmin.
Okay, he's taking Garmin. Give him Garmin. I don't mind. I don't mind giving him Garmin. Hayden, what song are you going to sing?
I better start practicing because there ain't a hope in hell of me running 3:07 next weekend.
You've got a long time on that flight to practice there and back.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway, let's move on. Should we do the big half first? Because that
no, don't get me started on that big half.
Well, I have now.
I'm really annoyed about the big half. Hayden, firstly,
Yeah.
are you doing the big half?
Not yet. No.
Not
Abby?
yet. Me, absolutely not.
Speak up.
I might do.
What?
What?
No, not really. Not at the moment. I don't know if Hayden does it. I might do it.
It just depends where it falls. Usually it falls at quite a good time when I'm just about ready for a half. But no, if you're talking about the course and the cost and that, no, don't want to do it. But if it's there, it's up for the taking, maybe.
Right, where are you going with this, admin?
Well, I'm going with it. It's a shocking course, and it's £56, which has gone up like massively over the last few years. That's where I'm going with it, which is the cost has risen so much. And they used to do, I think, if you lived in like within the areas, Greenwich and a couple of others, you'd get a slightly cheaper rate. And they are now giving a couple of quid off, I think, if you're part of a running club or an affiliated runner. But £56 for that course is shocking, right? The only good thing about that course is the rolling start, which I think most half marathons and races should adopt, right? Other than that, I cannot believe how much they're charging people to run that course. I think it's criminal, to be perfectly honest.
I think you're leaving out one big thing, to be fair, and it's the only thing for me that the big half has got is, apart from London Marathon, it's the only race you're going to get to cross Tower Bridge. That's a big draw. That's a big draw for people.
It is, and I get that, right? Because there's something phenomenal, right, about running across Tower Bridge and it's closed, and there is, especially if London is like the best city in the world, right? So that is brilliant. But for that price, do we really think 56 quid is worth it for that?
Sorry,
Guys?
I'm having technical problems. I've just had to speak. I checked with Speak Up. That's how bad it's got. I can hear something. I don't know whether it's my dodgy internet or Speak Up set me up after I've just stitched him up. So, am I all right?
Well, yeah, we can hear you. So no, it's a bit annoying, really.
Yeah, but is everyone breaking up or is the sound okay?
No, we're all fine.
Yeah.
Fine.
It must be me then. It's the internet. We've not paid the internet bill. I better get back out working. Right, so
Anyway, right.
big half.
56 quid to run over Tower Bridge. Do you think it's worth it?
Absolutely not. Now, we know, right, London Marathon events are big fans of this podcast, okay? We've actually told them that we will not take their 250 grand to sponsor one episode. I haven't said that. No, right. So, firstly, I think 56 quid is an absolute Mickey take. In fairness to London Marathon events, Hackney Half is the same sort of money.
Yeah.
And all the other bigger half marathons are now going north of 50 quid into 60 quid territory. So I don't want to single them out as being overly bad and overly naughty in terms of their pricing, because they've all done it, in fairness to them. I do think 56 quid is daylight robbery. I do think the biggest Mickey take out of the whole thing actually is the fact that they've raised the cost for the London boroughs, which is meant to support bringing those communities together, where they were offering it at a discount to get a heavy discount to get people within those boroughs active and running, and to then put the price up quite steeply on those, I think is absolutely outrageous. I think if they could justify putting our price up, but they say, right, we're going to give 500 places to, people who maybe can't afford necessarily to do a run or whatever. We're going to give them spaces for free, or we're going to do something awesome with it. Then I wouldn't have as much of a problem with it, to be fair. Or they were going to go, you know what, we're going to have a kids race and we're going to get 500 kids from all the local schools and they're going to run, like Vitality do, that sort of thing. I wouldn't necessarily have so much of a problem. But I do think it's an absolute Mickey take for 56 quid. I don't like the course anyway. I think it's well publicised. I don't like the course. I think you go into that tunnel, you're sitting there for 2 miles, you lose all reception to GPS, you come out in the Canary Wharf and you come back. You then run over some cobbles, try not to get injured, run over Tower Bridge, there's not many people on it. Then you end up in Christ knows where, and you finish at Cutty Sark. It's an absolute what's-it fight to get home. You walk 2,100 whatever it is steps to get a T-shirt that you don't really need and probably doesn't fit you, Toby. You get your medal eventually, and they won't let you out, and then you got to schlep it all the way back to wherever you got to go. It's just pointless. I think they need to absolutely change it up. It'd be awesome if we done like a route where we finish maybe back in central London. I think that would be easier for people. Talk about sustainability, like getting all the bags over to Cutty Sark makes no sense to me. So I'm going to volunteer. I think I would absolutely love to volunteer. One of the amazing things about 40 Runs and the 40 Runs Club is that we have these amazing people who volunteer. So I'm going to volunteer as long as it's not at the finish line, because I've got to get up to Greenwich. But no, I hope to be able to volunteer. And if you are like me, of the opinion you don't want to race it, then why not join our volunteer teams?
Yeah,
that's me.
There's a lot of messages coming in, actually, like comments around the fact that Great North Run is 64 quid, Royal Parks is 63 quid. And I guess the difference is those ones are that price, but you've also got to go through the ballot. So the big half is no ballot, is it? You just sign up and it's first come, first serve, which I guess does give people a big option to run in London at a similar, if not slightly cheaper price than that. So from that point of view, I'll give them that.
Yeah, that's what I said. It's in line. We can't lay in them too much about the cost, because they're all doing it. You know, we're all getting our pants pulled down by Limelight and London Marathon events, and whoever human race, because they're all charging the wrong price because they can get away with it. But I say my biggest problem with the big half is the increase on the on that local borough and that local community that they were trying to support and get out running, which is the whole point of it. They put the price up for them, and I don't see how they're increasing engagement within that community and bringing those people out and getting the kids. But again, maybe I'm absolutely wrong on that, and I'm happy for London Marathon Events to correct me and say, look, this is actually what we're doing with this money. It's not all just profit. We're giving this back to those communities, and that's fair enough, and I respect that. So that's why I'm holding a little bit off. In terms of the actual race itself, is pony, but that's just, I know people who like it, so it's up to everybody, isn't it? But the cobbles are a disaster, the tunnels are a disaster, the courses are a disaster, the support is a disaster, where you finish is a disaster, and the 18-hour schlep to get your t-shirt is also a disaster.
You mentioned all that, though. You got to remember, the majority of that, not that I'm sticking up for it, because for me it's an average race. I don't hate it, I don't love it, but the majority of the course is part of London Marathon, which I think is quite respectfully made between all of us. Everyone loves. Yeah. So sort of like look at it just in the course terms, it's a little bit tough. I think if you can have some criticism with regards to the marshalling, or the way the bag drop is, or the way the finish is with the walk to the t-shirts, totally on board with that, and I totally get that. I think it's a little bit harsh to criticise a race when it comes to just the actual course, because as you said, it's just horses for courses. Some people will like that course. Some people feel really special being that part of London. It's Royal Parks, for me, it's a glorified park run, and it's more money, and it's a wooden medal. For me, I take big half every day of the Royal Parks.
It's true.
Yeah, no, it's fair. I mate, you're right, brother. It's a fair comment, and as I said, I think it's all opinion. I think it starts off a bit of a disaster because you have 2 miles in a tunnel, the big half that is just relentless in that tunnel. But yeah, I've raced the big half, I think, every year except for maybe once when I was injured, and so I go there and always have a good time. It's just I just think there's better to do, and it could be, it's in September, there's probably some good local events that you might want to pick up that may be cheaper. I think that's could be a theme this year, that people try and do like local events to. Yeah. But again, I get it. People want to sign up for something, a big race in the capital. The big half is an opportunity because it's not a ballot. But again, I'm just disappointed more with London Marathon Events that they put the price up for those local residents. But let's see, they may be investing all that money back into those communities, and fair play to them. So, it is what it is. I reckon we move on, because I've probably got myself into another.
Can I just say about London Marathon Events before we do move on?
Yeah.
Not so much criticism. Have you seen the email that went out today to people doing London Marathon? Well, you guys are doing it. You must have got the email yourself. Well, they're basically not persuading you, but they're asking you if you want to give up your medal and your t-shirt, and they'll plant a tree for you.
Yeah, I saw that. There was another race that was saying about a give up t-shirt for a tree or something.
But we're talking about a world major, London. Oh, maybe there is people out there. For me, giving up a world major marathon medal to plant a tree. The t-shirt. The t-shirt I can live without. I'll be honest. The t-shirt I can live without. I ain't too bothered about that. If they're going to say to me, you know what, FORDY? Look, don't get me wrong there, because I love my London Marathon finisher t-shirts, right? Absolutely love them.
Okay. They're the only ones I actually keep, really. Them and the Great North Run ones, even though last year's Great North Run was a bit soppy. But they're the only ones I really keep. But that said, if they said to me, you know what, FORDY, we're not going to do T-shirts and we are going to chuck a load of money at this charity or that charity, or we're going to do this and we're going to do that with that money that we would usually do. Fair play. You know what I mean? I would suck that up. But you can't take my medal away from me.
No.
There's absolutely no... Are you sure that the email said the medal as well?
100%. 100%. Medal
That's
and
a
a
joke.
T-shirt.
But hold
No,
on.
I think...
Wait. They're not taking them away. Let's just be on their defence. They're asking. So I'm with you. Would I give up my London Marathon medal? Absolutely not. I nearly had a heart attack the other week when I thought I'd lost it, and it went into like my house went into meltdown because I was like, what have I done with it? So I wouldn't give it up. But what they're doing is asking people, because you get a load of people going, you're producing all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. We don't want a T-shirt. I don't want a medal. I don't want this. And there are people, you have to think, that have run London Marathon multiple times. They're getting in either good for age, elites, all of that kind of stuff that may not want them. So if those people don't want them, I'm not saying we should, but they are giving people an option, which...
Yeah. In fairness, to counter Hayden's aggressive tone, I would say, no. You are right, Admin, because you're giving people an option, which I think is fair to do, because some people simply don't care for the medals, they simply don't care for the T-shirts. Fair play to them, right? Yeah. I get that. I get that. To give people a choice, fair enough. Personally, I'd rather say we'll give your 30 quid or whatever, or whatever the T-shirt cost is, we'll give that to our charity of the year. And then I would probably tick that. I'd probably tick that box. Obviously, I'd want my medal, but I'd probably tick that box, whatever it was, Heads Together a few years ago or something like that gets the money, the charity, because they nominate one big charity of the year, I think, where they support still. I don't know if they still do that. But I'd rather give that money to them. But I like the idea of the option. We've always said, haven't we, about races and stuff, that you do the sort of Ryanair thing where you sort of build what you want on it. Do you want the plane to crash? Do you want to get there in one piece? Do you want a seat? Do you want to use the toilet? And you sort of build up your resume. I've just got to say, but don't worry, Tobe, I won't use the buttons. Mark Hurdy-Gurdy runs. I like the finishing Greenwich. The support is amazing. I actually, in fairness to, and a caveat, and I'm going a little bit pot kettle, the finish at the big half, that little bit in Greenwich, as you turn the corner to go down the finish, that is good, right? That is good. Mark, you're bang on, right? The rest of it's terrible, but that, not even 800 meters, 200 meters, 400 meters, whatever it is really, really good. But I'm not sure I could, stomach another go at it just for that section. Because in fairness to Hackney, which is, again, absolutely the wrong price, and apologies to everybody who's listening to this, to Peru, Philippines, the US, where we're climbing up the charts and all that. You ain't got no clue what we're talking about. It's one of the biggest, bigger half marathons in London. But in fairness to Hackney, the atmosphere is fantastic, and it was rocking last year. Yeah. And you do get that sort of big race feel because of the buzz around Hackney and around the environment and everything that's going on there, the party atmosphere. I don't know what it'll be like this year because I think it's changed. I know Nike ain't sponsoring, Hoka are sponsoring it. So whether the vibe changes, I've got no idea. But yeah, so the finish is good, but yeah. Oh, hang on. What's this? A shout out, please, for Natasha Hallam. She's finally back from flying the 40 flag. She's coming on the show. Hero, our own Judith Chalmers. Some of you probably be a bit young for that. Hayden's not. Hayden, I think, actually dated her at one point. Natasha Hallam. She's been out flying the flag across Asia. She's our Asia representative. She's an absolute legend, and hopefully we'll get her on the podcast. And that's a good question. Right, we'll spin round. That's a good question, Michael. Again, Tobe, I'm not going to put it up on the screen. Don't want to get told off again. Top 3 half marathons. Admin, go.
Oh, landmarks. I'm trying to think of the others now. Go to somebody else. Landmarks is my top one. Go on.
Useless. Speed, go.
Great North.
No, not you. You got to wait, Hayden.
Has to be Great North, I reckon, at the top.
Great North. Yeah. Top South 3, Tobe, was the question.
I do like Southend.
Southend.
I don't really remember most of it
Yeah.
though. So
Well,
I
even
was
though
just
you
pointing
got
out-
broken last year.
So I was just pointing out all the bumps and saying, please don't trip over.
Okay.
And landmarks is a good one.
Okay. Right. Finally to Hayden.
Definitely up the top. Great North, number 1. Brighton, number 2. For Brighton half was brilliant. And
Fair
my
play.
local one, because it's local and it's a brilliant one, Kingston half.
Nice.
Oh, fair play. Isn't Brighton half this weekend? We've got a big 40 contingent
Yep.
down there.
Yeah.
Sunday.
Right. So shout
Caroline
out to
and Ali
everybody
down
down there. Okay, brilliant. So if you're on the group, get over, see the event page and check that out. Right, admin, back to you. You've got 2 more choices.
I actually enjoyed Hackney last year, if I'm honest. I thought the atmosphere was amazing. Coursey stuff.
Buzzing,
And Southend was a good day, wasn't it? I'm trying to think of the other ones. But yeah, I haven't done Great North yet, so I think it will change after September.
That'll blow your mind.
Yeah.
That will
So,
blow your mind. I'm going Great North Run. I'm going Southend, and I'm going Landmarks. London Landmarks Half Marathon.
yeah.
They're my 3. Southend, because I'm Southend boy. Great charity. All the locals down there, but also we get a good 40 contingent. Landmarks is just great fun. Love it. It's twisty, it's turny, but it's just a great buzz. It's always in April for London Marathon. It's awesome. Great North Run. It's just the best half marathon you can ever do in the world. So there you go. Right. So, what's next, admin?
Well, I was going to check in with you lot before we get into fueling, right? So, firstly, because obviously Hayden is going flying the flag in Tokyo next weekend. How are you feeling? Because before we came on air, you were popping Nurofen. We were like, what's going on? Which doesn't bode well when you get flying halfway across the world. So,
No, I don't know. Maybe just a bit of paranoia. I've had it a couple of times. Just got this little pain in the bottom of my foot. So I'm going to duck out of my long run tomorrow, I think. Have a rest day. Maybe put it off till Sunday, see how I feel. But no, all in all, I've always said to you, this isn't my main goal. My main goal is in another 6 or 7 weeks' time. So this is in.
I'm not having that. I'm not having that. I'm not having. I'm sorry, admin. I know I'm getting told off for talking over him, but I'm not having that. I'm sorry. When you bust out 20 miles at like 8:07 pace, I'm sorry. I'm not having it that he's not going for it.
There was target pace in there. That's why. And it was, I stopped at a park run. That was a long run. But that is the sort of run that I would like to do at Tokyo. Maybe a bit slower. Take the foot off the gas a little bit. But at the moment, I'm getting to that anxious point where it's really bad. I'm thinking to myself now, I'm always can't wait for it to be over, to be honest. The anxiety of going out there on a Wednesday, the jet lag, going to the expo, we're doing some touring there, the marathon, coming home the next day. It doesn't seem that pleasurable at the moment, if I'm honest. Whereas all my other races I've been excited for. This one, I'm not, but I'm hoping that will change.
I am just before Chris jumps in, I just want to say, if your race predictor is 3:07 and it's not your way race, I can't wait to see what it says for Boston or New York later in the year or whatever else. 3:07 and it's not your A race. This is brilliant.
No, it's broken. I'm going to send it back to Garmin tomorrow. It's broken. I've realised that tonight. So let's see what happens. The new one.
He's so good. He's talking about pressure and feeling it, and then I go 2-footed into the front of this podcast, making he's got to run 3:06 or he's got to sing a song. Brilliant! I've just added to it.
Stupid game.
I might come to the airport, give you one of my world famous leg massages.
No.
Oh no, I've heard about these. They end up going. This is when Simon had a lay down, didn't he? 5 minutes from the end of a marathon because of your leg massage. It don't sound
Really
good.
loved it. I could 14 hours. If you pay for my seat, but it's got to be 1A, I could sit there and massage your legs for 14 hours.
Well, actually,
out of interest, Hayden.
Yeah.
Oh, go on first.
Yeah, I was just going to ask him on the plane, out of interest, what does a runner wear on a plane?
I will probably wear, to be fair, I'll wear my jeans. I'll just wear my jeans and a t-shirt all the time. I'm hoping to get some sleep, so it won't really matter what I wear. I'll be comfortable.
So
I'll be all right.
14 hours on a plane, you'd wear jeans.
I'm going to watch Avatar, the new one, 3 times. I might be done. That's the plan.
Okay, so that's what a runner wears on a plane, is it?
They're not supposed to. It depends. Why? Do you know any other runners? What do they wear? You can ask.
I don't know.
Else?
It's a question. I'm just concerned. It's a long way to go. I'm just concerned for all you jean wearers, what you would be wearing on the plane for 14 hours, because you've got to look after your legs, especially your age.
I can tell you now, I won't be wearing jeans on the way to Chicago. That is mental. 14 hours in jeans on a flight.
Chicago's only 9.
talking about massages, Toby, Toby's been a bit broken.
Oh, hang on.
Hang on, where's this going?
No,
Watch
Toby's
out.
been to see
Speak
Monica.
up, you're talking to.
So I'm
Going
just
back to
checking how he
Amsterdam.
is. Toby,
I
you
went to see Monica.
Go
My
on.
little check-in. Well, I thought I was all right, and then I'll go in there, lay on the bed, and she goes, "Oh, you're feeling a bit tight." I was like, "Thanks." So that was it. I don't know. She did some whatever she does, and we'll see.
She sent you away
Really?
to get
What,
ready
for your long run this weekend?
Yeah, but I've got a bit of a sore throat as well, so I might give that a miss.
Oh, no. Oh,
Yeah,
no.
might turn into a down week.
Could be a
Pick it up
down
next
week.
week.
Could be a down week. Oh, dear. Oh, toe.
Pick it up the end of next week,
All
I
right. So Monica was good, was it?
Yeah. When is it not?
It's so bad. If you
Right,
listen back
anyway,
to this convo, it's
if
so
you-
bad. We've got to move on.
Yeah, we are moving on, right? Because we're over halfway and we haven't even started talking about fueling. So tonight we're meant to be talking about fueling for a marathon, but this can apply to halves, 10Ks, 5Ks, whatever your goal is, I guess. And so I guess what we want to talk about is the importance of fueling, why we fuel. And I think it'll probably be interesting to hear what we fuel on. So pre-race, during the race, and after. So and please do leave comments if there's particular stuff that you take, timings, all of that kind of stuff. We're interested to hear what you do. So I guess to kick it off is we fuel, and let's just be very clear, none of us are nutritionists or scientists. Chris is part qualified doctor, but the rest of us are just everyday runners. But if you are doing endurance running, you are going to lose obviously carbs, sugars, glucose, etc. That stuff's all going to wear away very, very quickly. So you need to fuel whilst you're out there to keep that going, because otherwise salts as well is a big one, right? Magnesium, all of that kind of stuff, which is what a lot of these specific race fuels or running fuels have. So whether it be the hydration mixes, whether it be gels, whether it be certain solids. Is that fair, do we think, from a...
Yeah, I weren't listening to any of it. But it all sounded like I heard some of the right words. But anyway, listen, so this is just to give viewers an insight, right? We come up with these topics, and it's usually, right, based about the stuff that's going on in our heads or we're discussing, right? And it's genuine. So this is why I think, and thank you again, why, we were number one, all that sort of stuff, whatever, right? But it's because we're genuine and we are actually talking about things that you're talking about as well. Now, a lot of the subjects and topics that come up is because we're talking about them. So this conversation started at the start of the week. I don't know whether you follow me on Instagram, FORDY_runs. I saw Ben is running, was packing for Japan. I know a lot of people are flying out to Japan at the moment, right? And they're all getting packed up and packing stuff for flying out to Japan. And within that, he was putting gels in his case. He was putting gels in his cake. Shut up, Hayden. And one of the gels he was putting in was these. I'm not taking the mickey. Was the precision gels, right? And I thought to myself, one, as always, when I watch Ben on Instagram, because I'm like just a super fan, I was like, what is this precision hydration fuel stuff? Because everybody like uses Morton, and because they're all heroes and they're influencers and they've got like loads of money, right? So that's great with Morton. But you do have to remortgage to buy. So I was wondering, what is this precision thing? Obviously, Ben was probably sent them. Fair play to him. Like I get sent stuff, right? And then so I went on their website, and it came up with this predictor thing. So you go on there. It's called Precision Hydration or something it's called. And I went on their website thing, and it told me the following, right? So I screenshotted this because when I read it, I thought that's a bit strong. So apparently, according to this precision thing, now I put in that I was going for 345. Obviously that I'm super slim, handsome, and the rest of it. They didn't ask me for that, but I thought I'd add that in. And it said to me, because it was be a hard effort, a PF gel, 30 gel delivers 30 grams of carbohydrate. So we'd suggest 2 to 3 gels per hour. 2 to 3 gels per hour, because it reckoned they think I need 60 to 90 grams of carbs per hour. So 2 to 3 gels. Now, obviously, their gels are 30 grams of carbohydrate. In the Kendall gels that I use, they got 27 grams of carbohydrate. So as soon as I read that, I thought, I'm under fueling, massively under fueling. So straight away, went on to Jack at Kendall. I said, friend of the show. I said, listen, mate, this is what these precision dudes are telling me. I'm a big fan of Kendall and Mint Company, right? I use all their products, and they're not paying me whatever. I like to use their stuff, right? And he said 60 grams of carbs is right. 90 is certainly on the high end. On average, your body can only absorb an additional 60 grams of carbs per hour. That's on top of the stored energy you already have as glycogen, right? He then goes on to say, the idea here is to keep you more readily available energy stores topped up to the max so that you aren't having to break down glycogen, more difficult and less efficient. Okay. So and then he finishes and says, basically, FORDY, one of our gels topped up with the ISO mixed drink will get you to about that 60 grams. So it's like, a bit of both.
Yeah.
But so he's saying 60 grams for me is probably more about right. So that would be 2 of their gels, these precision gels, an hour. But they don't include within that the fluid like hydration. So like the electrolytes, or like if you're doing London Marathon or I don't know, that Tokyo Marathon, they will have stuff out on course, right? So the Glucosade Sport has got, carbs in it, and you can take that on, and that will top you up to a degree. But 60 grams is quite a lot. So I was chatting to Si about this because Speedgoat, we'll come on to him, he's got a slightly different strategy to us. So this weekend, we're actually going to change our strategy up. So usually, right, this is me, and then we'll spin around the room. I previously before would take them basically every 5 miles. So okay, I would feel sorry pre-run. So I would have bowl of porridge, whatever, cup of coffee, couple of hours beforehand. I would have then, over the couple of days before, I would have had a more carby-based diet than I normally would. And then I would then fuel roughly every 5 miles. So 5, 10, 15, 20. I probably wouldn't have one at 25 because after 20 miles, I'm just hanging on for dear life. But I will be taking on electrolyte drinks. I may actually take on something like whatever's on the course or, whatever. So I was thinking, do I need to change it up? So I'm going to try this weekend, and I'm going to do it every 4 miles. So 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. So effectively, I'm putting 1 extra gel into play. I'm still going to have my electrolyte drink on me. I have 2 of those little bottles on the front with Kendall drinking. And might not be interesting people, but next week, well, no, not next week, 'cause we're racing, but the week after, I'm switching it out to Lucozade Sport because that's what's on course. So I'll make that change over to I'm using what's on the course. But that's where I'm at. So I still don't know whether I'm fueling enough based on this. And I'm going to find out this weekend. So that's me. That's a little bit of the behind the story. Now let's check with actually, let's go Speedgoat first, because Speedgoat, you do something a little bit differently to me inside, didn't you?
Yeah, so fun enough, I used to do what you're going to try. So originally I used to do I used to take the first one at 6 miles and then do every 4. That's it. And I just felt it wasn't quite, I was saying it's just giving me a bit too long. So it was Amsterdam where I changed it up. Where I then did the first one at 5, and then the second, and then after that about every 3.5 miles. And also I changed the technique that I learned from Benny's running, is not just down it. So I will take it over about the next kilometre.
Right.
So actually that will extend it out to effectively I'll start at about 3.5 and finish about 4. And then I'll process again.
I'm just going to, that was, so I'm using some of that. The reason I've jumped in before Hayden, was to say, I watched Ben Park's video the other day. He was doing Valencia Marathon, right? He blew up, he did not finish, whatever, right? But what I actually took from that was the fact of his fueling. He was using different gels. He had a caffeinated one. He had like 2 Morton ones. He was saying he was having a Morton drink down to the start. He then was going to take a Sporting Science one on the line. But it was the fact that he was using so many different sorts of gels. He didn't really care. Obviously, he must have a stomach that can tolerate it. And he was using different gels for different things. I think he had a couple of malt ones, and then he was going caffeinated and that sort of stuff. But he did take one on the start line, and he'd had that Morton drink, which again is not cheap, right? On the way to the start. So he was like proper loading up. All right. He had a bad race, happens to us all, right? And that's probably not down to the fueling, but it was different. It was interesting. Watch the video. It wasn't the Valencia. I don't think he's in put a Valencia video out, but it was the one he was talking about the stuff that he was saying. Sorry, Hayden, I did cut him before for what you. So what do you do in terms of fueling?
So I've always, from when I started researching this and looking at it, when I first started thinking about marathon training, it's basically like what you said. I think the sort of rule of thumb is 1 gram per minute. So yeah, as you said, 60 grams per hour. So yeah, I'd look around at gels and see what they could be. But as you said, that would work. I use the SIS gels, and I'm pretty sure they're about 24 grams. So mine would be a minimum of 2 of them per hour. And for me, that's just too much. They're too sickly. But my issue is I've stuck with them from the start, and I feel I've been quite successful with my runs. So I'm into that state now where I'm really nervous to change, and I won't change because they've done me good. So what I try to do is that carb loading before a race for me is key and more important than anything. If I can start that race with my reserves absolutely full, and then I take my first gel after about 40 minutes. And then if I go usually about every 40 minutes after that, 45 minutes. And I'm thinking that I'm not actually going to dip into my glycogen reserves. So I try and stay keeping them topped up. Obviously, you don't know if you're going to go into those or not. The only time you actually really do know is when you start feeling wobbly and you start going all over the place and you start bonking. And this is the problem. This is the thing that you have to avoid. And the more fuel you can take on board, the better. With regard to mixing it up, I know quite a few people that would take sort of an isotonic gel up until about the first couple of hours, and then they move on. SIS do it actually. They do an isotonic gel plus caffeine. So the back couple of gels do a couple of caffeine bits as well. But again, all of this comes down to, it has to be something you practice, something that you're used to, because I know myself, I took a caffeine block on a half marathon once, about mile 10. I felt dreadful for it, like really bad. I'm not a big coffee drinker or anything, so it just didn't react well with me. From that day, I've always been like, I'm not touching them. But then when you speak to people for advice, they're always saying to me, have you tried the caffeine block? Have you tried this? Have you tried the SAS with the caffeine? But it just makes me nervous. For me, it's just tried and tested. My way works at the moment. I'm quite happy with my running, how it's gone. So I just old school. I just stick to it, and that is carb load as much as I can. And I take an SIS gel, which has got about 24 grams of carbs in it every about 40 minutes. And I usually, if I'm going to put a good shift in and run a decent marathon, then it's probably end up being 4/5 of them. That usually gets me around.
Yeah.
Okay, 2 things. Firstly, I think obviously the other thing you've not spoken about, Hayden, is the fact that gels work for you because you don't have to put your teeth in. The other thing is that somebody told me to front load, always front load your intake. So you as you say, you're always getting ahead of it, but to take, not to go mad, right, and to go overkill, but if you're gonna put it into play, it was always to put more into the front part of the race. You still need it at later stages, but it was to make sure that you are taking on enough and a little bit more in the front part of the race.
But there is a limit. There's a limit how much you can actually absorb and take in. So
well, that's what he said, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly. Once you go past that,
it was on average, your body can only absorb an additional 60 grams of carbs per hour. So you don't want to go, but 60 grams of carbs per hour is like I'm pointing because I've got a box there, 2 Kendall, like for example, 2 Kendall gels, or like you said, Sports and Science gels or whatever. They're all roughly between 25 and 30 grams of carbs on average. So to take 2 of them is quite a lot in an hour, I would say. But don't forget, you are topping up with, or you should be topping it up with some form of isotonic drink or whatever's on course, or whether you're self-sufficient, right? But yeah, the key that I wanted to talk about, apart from your teeth, was that somebody told me was a tip to front load it up to make sure that you don't neglect it. And if you're gonna put it in early, then put it in early at the front, so you clear that halfway stage and you're well fueled up, so there's less chance of that bonking or hitting the wall. What about you, admin?
My fueling is, I'm still learning, I think it's fair to say. So I've done 2 marathons, so I don't have the experience that some of you guys have in terms of having done multiple, like more than that, in terms of marathons and those long training runs. And I actually think I've gone from over fueling. So I think at London I overfueled. I've said this before. I took way too much water on course because it was there and I just thought I had to. But also I think I was so worried about not taking enough gels, because I'm not a 3-hour marathon runner. I think I ran just over 5 at London, right? So I think I took too many.
Did a good time, mate.
Yeah,
Did a
no,
good time.
it's not about that, but it's just the breadth, isn't it? The difference in running 3 hours of time on your feet and how many you may need versus 5 hours, or people that are running 6, 7, 8 hours, etc. But I now go kind of 45 minutes in. So for me, that's about 4.5 miles. 4 miles, 4.5 miles. I'll take a gel, and then I go for a marathon. I think in Edinburgh I went roughly every half an hour after that. But I'm quite petite, so quite tall, but I'm quite petite, and I feel like I need more because I lose it really quickly. And it worked.
What are you using? Which ones are you using?
I'm using Morton at the moment. I've tried quite a few though. I've tried the SIS ones, didn't get on with them at all. I've tried Buzz Power. I think someone just commented about them as well, actually saying that they're diabetic and they've used those because it's honey basically, which they're all right, and they worked for a bit, but then I started getting some stitches, so I've changed from those, and I found Morton seems to work for me. They don't have any flavour to them; they just taste sweet, which seems to do the trick. Because if I'm then mixing it with isotonic, I'm not getting flavour on flavour, which I think for me is just way too much. So, and I know, look, Morton's expensive, but it's what works.
Yeah, exactly right. If it's again, it's all personal preference. Yeah, and like everything in whatever we do, it's all personal preference. Especially, I think, in this department with fueling. This is why we weren't ever going to come on today and say this is what you got to do to make. Because as you just said, I'm still learning. Hayden's still learning. Toby's still learning. Like, you know, tomorrow I'm going out and practicing a slight change in my fueling. And I'm still, you know, I'm going to be doing my 5th London Marathon in April. So what? What do I know? There's people out there doing 100 marathons, and they're probably still tweaking bits and bobs around it. It just scared me this week when I did that. Oh Christ, am I not taking enough? Is that one of the reasons why I'm not performing, you know, on that day to the level that maybe I think I should be able to? Maybe that is an area of weakness. We all I think it's good to identify the weaknesses, and we know our weaknesses, like strength training and stuff like that for me, and that slightly less strength in my mind and that mental aspect of it, the demons. But I wonder if my fueling's more on point, then will those demons less likely set in? And it's that sort of thing, isn't it? Because everything's working a little bit better because the brain's getting all the stuff that it needs to send all the signals to everywhere else. So that's why I think it cropped up. I'm in the middle of a training plan. I'm scrapping around now because it's that period of time, and it is the period of time, if you are in this marathon training plan, to be actually now playing around with your fueling, because you probably go in that, you know, you're stretching out your long runs to like 12 to 16 miles. You're probably in somewhere within that region, I'm guessing. I know some of us have got marathons on the 5th of March. Some of us don't, but it's, you know, it's too late for you boys to do, or guys who maybe got that. But if anybody who's like sort of where I am in April, it's very. He started laughing again. Look, he started laughing. You're putting me off tonight. He's laughing.
As well.
I'm trying to be serious, and you're making me laugh. Stop
It's
it.
like the naughty school kids at the back of the class. You see today.
Tab, can I just say it's not me tonight?
It's always you.
I just want to say as well, I think for me, let's bring it back, is
please.
I've actually found that for me, what I eat before, so whether it be the few days before a long run or the night before, and my breakfast sets me up the right way. And I think actually for me, that is as important, if not more important, I've learned, than gels and taking them every 30 minutes, 45 minutes, every 4 miles, 3 miles, etc. And I think we sometimes neglect that, knowing how much we may need to get us to that start line feeling good. And I think that takes a hell of a lot of experimentation in terms of timings, how much to eat, what not to eat, what sets. Like we've spoken about this before, but Simon can eat anything and everything the night before, 2 minutes before it makes sense.
The Great North Front. Tobe, what did you two animals have?
I went Greg because I don't really know what he had. He had a lot more than I did.
He had like a bacon. He had a full English sandwich, and then had like a sausage and bacon sandwich as well, and then ran comfortably 1:45. It ain't normal. The boy's an animal.
But you got to remember,
interest, what
on the marathon, it only gets into 25.5 miles.
Yeah.
So whatever he's doing isn't quite right, really, is it?
Yeah. Whatever it is he's doing. But out of interest, so if you was traveling, what would you have for breakfast, Hayden? Like, so you're off to Japan. I know a lot of people are going to Japan, but just use an example because you're here. So what are you going to have for breakfast in Japan to fuel your
on the marathon day?
Yeah.
No, I've actually, when I said earlier, but I've got a few anxieties about Japan. I've got one. I'm not a good eater. I'm not the best eater at all. Don't do fish. No, I don't do rice. I'm going to Japan, so a lot of my anxieties are about the diet. When it comes to marathons, for me, like Sabrina said earlier, carb loading that week before, the day before, and stuff. That's where I really go in, and I really think that's always helped me. Obviously, flying out to Tokyo, I'm not sure what actually I can really take with me, what I'll be allowed to take. And when I get there, although I have looked into a few things, Tokyo is very, very much westernized. Well, I think you've been there, Chris. So
yeah. Listen, I was there 10 years ago. It was like, you know what I mean? You get out of the train station, there's McDonald's. So, go in there and have a breakfast.
Oh, there you go. I'll be sorted then. Yeah, well, I said that's been one of my anxieties. But my ideal thing would be on marathon day to have a couple of bagels. That would do me. A couple of bagels and a bottle of water, and a cup of tea as well. I'm ready to go.
Are you going to try and take that out with you? Yeah. Oh, sorry, Admin.
No, I was going to ask the same question, which is because bagels have a fairly long shelf life, don't they? So are you going to pack those with you?
Yeah, I'll take usually. It's fun actually. Normally, so marathons usually on a Sunday. So on a Tuesday, I usually go down to, it's usually Asda, to be fair. It's like a bit of a ritual for me when it comes to these marathons. Get my trolley and I just go right in with bagels, the Serene bars. Usually this time of year, I go in with our hot cross buns.
Just got a picture of him rolling around there with his blanket over his lap, with the trolley on the front. Like, bless him, you see the old boys go down, Asda. Well, I can just go down, get the paper, love. Off we goes. Get the milk in, get a bit of bread, lovely, jubbly, a few eggs. Got to have a few eggs, cut the pickled onions, lovely, jubbly, put them all in. With a blanket on his lap. Sorry, I could just see you doing it.
Considering you're 1 year behind me in age, don't laugh because it'll be you next year.
It's so good. Oh, it's so good. If you was traveling abroad later on in the year, what would you do about breakfast for a marathon?
I'll just see what's there. It's just like Amsterdam, really. I mean, as long as you have some green tea and beetroot the day before, some random like noodly thing with a bit of entertainment at the kitchen. We won't go into that. And then you just see what's there, really, don't you?
I've got to give one story out. I won't give the name of the person.
Be careful.
I won't give the name of the person, but I do know somebody who actually went to a marathon and bought a toaster when they were there to be able to toast something in their room. That's the length that I know some runners go to in terms of making sure they get what they're used to. We are funny creatures, aren't we, really, if you think about it? It's barking mad.
I was at the airport at Gatwick 2 weeks ago, going to Tenerife, and the person, few in front of me, went through the security. It went off. They went and opened it up and just looking over to see what it is, and they had a toaster in their bag, in their hand.
It's mad, isn't it?
I bet it's cheaper
it is mad.
Buy a toaster and toast your own and get breakfast at a hotel.
Easily, yeah, absolutely.
No brainer, then, isn't it?
That is so Tobe, if you like maybe, I don't know, planned a trip abroad, soon, like maybe end of the year, something like that. Would you take a toaster with you?
Nah, I'll risk it.
No. You'd risk it.
I'd risk it. Yeah, it's too much effort
Would you?
carrying something with you, isn't it?
I'll tell you what I'll do. Is
That
next one,
is true.
I'll take one with me.
You
You're
coming
going
to
to
the
take
same
one with
race
you.
as
What,
me?
just,
I'll take one just in
You
case.
coming to New York as well?
Yeah,
waiting
I am
for
going.
the-
oh,
York,
that's a
actually.
point. New York. When
Waiting
does
for
that
the
ballot,
ballot.
by the way? When's that come out?
It's out
1st
now.
of March.
1st of March.
The results are the 1st of March, I think.
Okay.
But you're already in that, and you, Hayden.
I'm already into New York. Yeah, we sorted out a couple of months ago. Yeah, I'm already in.
Toby, did you go in for the ballot?
Yeah.
Hardcore. Abby?
No.
No, I didn't either.
Well,
I'm hoping Sports Tours send me out there for free. Well, because they do it with a running channel, don't they? So why don't they do it for me? Why wouldn't Sports Tours send me out instead of running channel? Well, I don't see the difference.
you're asking the wrong
Well,
people.
Yeah, probably.
But
Did we answer the fueling stuff, by the way?
I think so. I think the point is that it's trial and error, right? And I think we're all still learning, and that pre-race, the week leading up to it is just as important as race day. But now is the time, if you are in training blocks for halves, for marathons, because most of us are going to need to fuel on those. Now's the time to start trying stuff. So whether that be trying different gels, knowing what works and what doesn't. I always say to people when we're coaching them at our groups, if you're trying new gels, take one on a kind of 10K run at like 4 or 5 miles, because then if you get issues, you're at home before they start kicking in, and you know whether they work for you or they don't. Because somebody, I think Dan has just said, Tokyo hydration plan, please. And yeah, which is an interesting one, because for me, it's really hard to tell anyone. We don't know what they're running, what pace they run, what they take, what they don't take. But Hayden, were you going to pick up on that one?
Yeah, so I know Dana messaged actually, long one show on Instagram. If you want to send your messages in, go up to the Instagram page. Dana did. So they're doing Tokyo. And what's happened is this week, the Tokyo handbook's come out telling you everything you need to know about the marathon. And one of the big things that's causing a bit of a stink is there is absolutely, first of all, you've never been allowed to take a hydration vest. You're not allowed to take any bottles on your belts. You're not allowed to take any hydration or any fluids in bottles whatsoever. And you've got to wait. You've got to wait until you get to the first stop to get your first bit of water in. So there's a bit of a stink about that at the moment. People aren't happy about that, and rightly so, to be fair, because you practice all this stuff like you've just spoken about, and then you get to a big major race, and for some stupid reason that I've no idea what the logic is, they turn around and say no drinks whatsoever.
So you can't take drinks to the start. So when you're waiting in the pens, because we know that you can be there for ages sometimes, right? You can be there an hour in a pen. You can't take a bottle of ice, a drink, or water with you.
You can take it up to the pen, but the minute you go into the pen, which is where they're going to take your temperature, scan your QR code, you also, it's one of the only marathons where most people do anyway, but you have to have your phone with you, because you have to have your QR code on the thing, and they scan it before you go into the pen. And at that point there, you have to get rid of all your drinks. You're not allowed, well, they said originally, you're not allowed to take any extra clothing to keep warm, because they do not want you dumping clothing on the side of the road. But there's been a lot of objections to that. And I think they are thinking about putting a charity bin somewhere near the start. But yeah, there's a lot of rules with Tokyo that they don't really make sense. But the water one, as Dana said, wanted to address it. I don't know what is the answer to it. What can you do about it? There's nothing you can do. They're saying no drinks, and that's it. Like it or lump it. What are you supposed to do? It's bad.
Sorry. I don't know if I heard that right. There's no drinks on the course.
No. There's drinks on the course. You cannot take your own drink whatsoever in whatever form you want it. You can. I think actually
you can only have what they.
You're allowed to take a cardboard bottle.
You can only have what they give you on course.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
No
so
hydration vest.
Whatever that. Yeah. Okay. So no hydration vest is what you're saying.
And no bottles of water. Some people, I know my wife Louisa, she likes to take. She has her own bottle of water. It's the right size. It's the right thing she likes to hold, the right weight, and she takes it with her all the time. This time, no, she can't. She can only use the water that they've got out on course.
Well, I would sneak it in. What are they going to do about it?
I don't know.
I'd put it on my jumper. I'd put it in my flip belt. I'd put it in my shorts. What are they going to do about it? What, are they going to arrest you for carrying a bottle?
In Japan, maybe, yeah.
No. I can't see it. I can't see it. And if you're wearing a hoodie to the start, right, because you're cold,
Yep.
well, just run in it and dump it on the side. What are they going to do? I don't understand what they're going to do about
You
it.
have to have your number exposed at all times. That's not just a jacket undone. It has to be on your outside of a garment. So if you are going to wear a hoodie, you're going to have your number pinned to the hoodie, which is fine if you want to dump it. But yeah, you could probably go down that route. That's actually a good call. But they are saying about not dumping clothes. It's one thing they've really tried to adhere to. But as you said, there's been a lot of people complaining about it. And I think everyone's hoping that they are going to rescind that.
How many people do Tokyo Marathon?
I think it's about 40,000.
Okay. So all you 40,000 people that listen to this podcast, all turn up with your hydration vests on, all turn up with your hoodies on, all turn up with your bottles on, and all go in there and let them try and manage that. Good luck with that Tokyo Marathon. What a stupid idea. I mean, what are these planet are these people on? And it's a world major. It's all right if you're an elite and you're getting bussed in, right, to the start. But everybody else, nah, just listen. Just turn up. If you're one of the people who are doing the Tokyo Marathon, I know there's quite a few on the show and, you know, friends and family who are doing it and that. But I would just wear anything you want, do what you want. What are they going to do about it? Just tell them when they say to you, you're not allowed to do that. Say, Toby said I could.
Well, look, on that note, we are at over an hour. So a few things. Firstly, huge good luck and shout out to those people doing Tokyo next week, because I guess people will be getting on flights at the weekend early next week to get their jet lag and all of that stuff, right? So we will talk about it next week. But yeah, good luck to all of those. Good luck to people at Brighton Half this weekend. And in other places. If you have comments and questions and stuff you want to get into us during the week, there's obviously the Facebook community. There is a long run page on Instagram and Facebook now, and obviously the website as well, which is fordyruns.com/long run. Huge shout out to our friends at Skechers again. Thank you for obviously looking after us and sponsoring us. And next week, you are going to be joined by Ben Slater, which I'm really excited about, actually. I'm not here, but he's going to be on.
Is he coming on next week?
Ben is coming on next week with you.
Awesome.
And so Ben is, just for a bit of context really quickly, Ben is doing London for the first time. He's done a whole load of halves. He's been doing the Super Half series. So if you've got questions about those, please get them in, and I'm sure he'll be happy to talk to you about those. And he's doing his first London marathon, along with, I think he's doing a charity thing this year as well, with like running X amount of miles. So he'll have loads to talk about, and be brilliant. Go on, Chris.
So who's on next week hosting?
You're in charge
Me.
next week, and then you've got Wilco and Alan. The three of us are away.
Okay. Oh, so where are you guys in?
Well,
Are you just having a weekend? What, are you all going away together without us, or what's the deal?
No,
I'm going to Tokyo. If anyone fancies
you're off to Tokyo. Oh,
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
I'll be in Essex, but I have other plans.
I'm working.
Right. Okay. All right. Okay. Right. Well, that was it. Sorry, I was interested to know.
Anyway.
Okay. All right. Carry on. Sorry, Admin. Take us out.
That's all right. Thank you. Good night, everyone, and we will see you soon. Don't forget Bite Size on Monday night as well, at 7:00.
Yeah, 7:00 live.
Yes. All right. Thanks. Titles, Toby.
Oh.